This man sold a fake airport for over 242 million US dollars. Imagine selling a fake airport that does not exist. Well guys, this is what this man actually did. Known as Emmanuel, he hails from Nigeria, from the eastern part. He grew up in search of wealth and freedom. This motivated him to plan the greatest heist in the history of the whole world. To lay back and enjoy the story. Emmanuel grew up in Nigeria, Lagos State, where he studied banking and finance and became a banker. He was so good at his craft that he became the manager of Union Bank, big bank in Nigeria. Then finally, he realized to himself that he has actually made it to where he wanted to be in life. But something was not right. Due to the rate of unemployment, money became scarce, so he could not earn the amount he wanted to earn. And he had to do something about this. So in the fall of 1994, him and 3 friends took the advantage and opportunity of the development of Nigeria as Abuja being the new capital of the country. So they all came up with this great and amazing plan. This plan really shaped the history of the whole world. So in the early year of 1995, him and his 2 friends went ahead with the plan, and the plan was to trick foreign investors to invest in the development of Nigeria, which they had no idea about. Let me explain. Since Abuja was declared the new capital, development was ongoing and any investor who invested will have a great return in profits. So this was their next move. Emmanuel decided to play the role as the governor of Central Bank in 1995, and his friends pretended to be aviation officers. Now the ball was in motion for them to play, but there was a problem. They needed to find investors willing to pay for this great project. That's when they decided to send fax message all over the world to different and various banks and sectors in the finance industry. So they sent to various banks. They waited and waited but got no reply. Just as they were about to give up, they got a reply from a man named Nelson Sakaguchi, who was the managing director of a big bank in Brazil. They were excited and filled with joy, and they explained the whole investment idea to Nelson Sakaguchi. They told him he can make millions in return if he chooses to invest. And so he agreed. And now the next phase of the plan was to meet up. Since Emmanuel did not want anybody to know and Nelson did not want anybody to know, they decided to link up in London. So it was set. Emmanuel and his 2 friends flew all the way from Nigeria to London. This is where the story gets a lot interesting. So Nelson joined Emmanuel and his 2 friends for a meeting where Emmanuel poses as the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria and his 2 friends as aviation officers. In this meeting, they convinced Nelson that this was a good idea and great investment for him to invest and gain more profit from. So they signed a deal and Nelson transferred the money to their accounts. Now they finally succeeded, but there was a problem. How would they leave London with over 242 million in their accounts? Now Emmanuel had to initiate a new plan with his friend, which was to scatter the money all around the country. And this plan was so ingenious because the money will not be traced to them at all. So they left London and came back to Nigeria. After arriving, they found all the money and gathered it in one place and started investing in the so major companies here in Nigeria. They started buying shares of major companies here in Nigeria and living life lavishly. But afterwards, Nelson Sakaguchi started calling them, but they refused to pick his calls. He was so scared that he decided to quit his job. 3 years later, the bank was up for sale, but there was a problem. They could not find a third of its capital. So they arrested Nelson Sakaguchi and he told them everything. Meanwhile, in Nigeria, Emmanuel was living a peaceful life and enjoying himself. But all came to an end when the AFCC stormed his home and put him under arrest after being tipped by the Brazilian police saying that he was involved in a fraud. Him and his friends were charged to court and they all plead guilty of impersonation, fraud, and stealing. All the property he spent all the money on was recovered and he was sent to prison. Can you imagine this man doing the unbelievable thing? Well guys, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe for more and interesting videos.